Visceral fat is so annoying. This is the type of fat that accumulates around your organs, your liver, your heart, your pancreas. It's really bad for you because it applies pressure to those precious organs and it increases your risk of inflammation, metabolic diseases, obesity, PCOS, high blood pressure. There's a long list of what visceral fat leads to, but I got great news. I'm going to give you a simple 30-day protocol, the complete protocol to melt stubborn fat. Not just the fat around your stomach and love handles, but to pull that visceral fat out of your organs. As somebody who has been overweight and obese with a ton of visceral fat, I was able to transform my body, my health, using what I'm gonna share with you today. And I've taken thousands of people from all across the world, men, female, all walks of life, through this protocol with great success. And you are about to get it all. Let's start with week 1. Each week is going to have 5 simple tips for you to follow. Here's the first tip in week 1. Oh, and I forgot to mention the best part about this protocol. You don't have to count calories, cut calories, weigh food, rely on your willpower, and starve yourself. Actually, it's very easy. The first thing you're gonna do is lower your total carbohydrates to 100 grams or less per day. The reason why we wanna do this is because when you eat carbohydrates, think of bread, pasta, oatmeal, cereal, whole grains, wheat bread. These are all carbohydrates. All of that turns into sugar inside of your body. When that happens, there's a hormone produced by your pancreas that clears the blood sugar. That's a great thing. However, the more this hormone is produced, called insulin, the more you are in a fat storage state, especially the fat starts to accumulate on your visceral fat. So what we want to do is lower that hormone by lowering your total carbohydrates. That's the first step, 100 grams or less per day. You could ballpark it. You could use a free app like Cronometer over at cronometer.com/ketocamp to just input your food. It'll tell you exactly how many carbohydrates you're consuming. The second step here during week 1, and you're going to do this for the duration of the 30 days, is to remove these fats that are very inflammatory that prevent your fat burning hormones from doing their job. They're called vegetable oils. I'm going to give you a list of 8 of them to, I'm not going to say remove completely. I want to make this easy, but to limit and replace them with the fats I'll give you in the step number 3 here. These fats cause a lot of inflammation, weight gain, weight loss resistance. Here's a list of 8 of them you want to reduce. Canola oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, and then rice bran oil and grapeseed oil. What you're gonna do with tip number 3 is actually consume more fats that build your hormones, including your fat burning hormones, lower inflammation, and support your metabolism's ability to pull fat from your organs. These are called saturated fats and monounsaturated fats. And you're simply gonna follow this 2-2-2 rule starting day 1, week 1. The 2-2-2 rule is the following. Every day you're going to consume 2 tablespoons of either coconut oil or MCT oil. That's the first 2. You're going to consume 2 tablespoons of butter or ghee. That's the second 2. And then 2 tablespoons of avocado oil or olive oil. That's the third 2. You're not consuming them in a spoon as a meal. You're consuming them with your meals. The oils you're using to cook your food in, your salad dressings, your dips. But you want to hit that 2-2-2 rule. It's going to give your metabolism these healthy fats to start ramping up fat burning, which is exactly what we want to do for you, especially starting day 1, week 1. The fourth step here is to get 7,000 steps from walking each day. When you walk, you recruit these large muscles in your legs. It also helps with insulin sensitivity, helps with other hormones, including your blood sugar regulation, but it helps with fat loss. So 7,000 steps per day. You could use a Fitbit, an Oura ring like I have here to track it. What is it called? A speedometer, I think it's called, where it tracks your steps. You could correct me if I'm wrong. But track it and get 7,000 steps total per day. The 5th step you're gonna do here in your week 1 protocol is to have 3 meals per day. No snacking in between those meals. You're gonna have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You're not gonna snack in between your meals because every time you snack, you raise the hormone insulin and you're in a fat storage state. That's the opposite of what we wanna do here. So you're gonna eat more fat, healthy protein, less carbs, and have it in 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Let's say it's 8 a.m., 12 p.m., and 8 p.m., and no snacking in between those meals. The great thing is that as you incorporate these healthy fats, it's going to help you feel full and satiated so you don't have to snack in between meals. Let's move on to week 2. Week 2, you're going to lower your total carbohydrates from 100 grams total or less per day to 75 grams total or less per day. Again, we want to have an impact on lowering insulin, and by lowering your carbs even more, we'll get that effect where you tap into fat loss much faster. The second step here is you're going to continue getting your 7,000 steps per day, but the only tweak we're going to make here is that you're going to incorporate walking after your meals. If you could get a 20-minute walk in after all your meals, and if not, at least the biggest meal of the day, that's one of the best fat loss tips you could ever do, because what happens is when you eat food, as I mentioned, there's a glucose response. The more insulin is shuttled out, the more you're in a fat storage state. When you go for a walk after a meal, it blunts that insulin response. You use the energy, the sugar from the food, or what gets turned into sugar from food, as energy. It goes into your liver and muscle cells, and you go right back to a fat-burning state. So 20-minute walk after all your meals, ideally, if not, after your biggest meal of the day. The third thing here in week 2 is going to be you're still going to eat 3 meals a day, no snacking in between. You're going to eat until full, by the way. I forgot to mention that. All meals you'll be eating until full, which is easy to do with those healthy fats from the 2-2-2 rule. But you're going to bring your dinner down a little bit. For example, if you're eating breakfast at 8 a.m., lunch at 12 p.m., and dinner at 8 p.m., like the example I gave you in week 1, now you're gonna bring your dinner from 8 p.m. to 6 p.m. You're gonna bring it down 2 hours. You're gonna give your digestive system more time to digest that food before bed, which allows you to get more deeper fat-burning sleep. You wake up more restored, you have more willpower, you feel more refreshed. So you wanna make sure you're bringing down your dinner to achieve this. The fourth step here is to consume at least 30 grams of protein at each of those 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 30 grams of protein. Protein has an incredible effect on fat loss. It's considered thermogenic, so it raises your metabolism's ability to burn calories. It also helps you feel full and satiated, so you want to get 30 grams of protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Protein is going to be steak, eggs, seafood, poultry. You could look up a list of healthy proteins. Animal-based protein is preferred over plant-based protein, but if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, go with organic fermented soy products like tempeh and natto. The fifth step here in week 2 is going to be to drink 8 ounces of water, like spring water, with a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and a pinch of sea salt before each meal. This is going to help with fat loss, digestion, that postprandial sugar response, and you want to do this for the entire remaining weeks of this protocol. So water, tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, a pinch of sea salt, mix it together, drink that 30 minutes before your meals. Let's move on to week 3. Week 3, what we're going to do now is take your carbohydrates. We started out at 100 grams or less per day on week 1 to 75 grams or less per day on week 2 to now 50 grams or less per day by week 3. Again, this is going to continue to help your body lower insulin and burn more fat. Step 2 here is you're going to increase your step count from 7,000 steps per day to 10,000 steps per day and continue to do that 20-minute walk after all your meals or after the biggest meal of the day. Step 3 here in week 3 is to go for a 30-minute walk in the morning before you have breakfast. This is such a great fat loss tip that I've incorporated with thousands of students. Essentially, when you wake up in the morning, your sugar reserves, which are called your glycogen stores, is just where you store sugar in your liver and muscle cells. It's going to be low. And when you go for that walk, 30 minutes, it doesn't have to be intense, by the way, just a 30-minute walk on an empty stomach, you burn a ton of fat. So a 30-minute walk in the morning starting week 3 before you have your breakfast is going to be imperative for this protocol to really work for you. Now, tip number 4 here is to continue to have 30 grams of protein at each meal, ideally from animal-based protein. And the 5th step here in week 3 is going to be to continue having 3 meals a day at 8 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 p.m. But the only adjustment we're going to make is that your biggest meal of the day here should be for breakfast, and your smallest meal of the day should be at dinner. The reason why is simply because we're more insulin sensitive in the morning, meaning we process that food much better for fat loss in the morning than later on in the day and early evening. So biggest meal of the day, breakfast, smallest meal of the day, dinner. This leads us to the final week, week 4. Step 1 is to continue having 50 grams of total carbohydrates or less per day. Step 2 is going to be to do that 30-minute walk in the morning before breakfast, but if you could increase the intensity of that walk by either walking faster, jogging, or even doing some sprint intervals, you'll get a better fat loss effect. And then even consider throwing in a cup of green tea before that walk or a cup of black coffee, which also could enhance fat loss. So consider that as well. Number 3 is you're gonna practice what's called time-restricted feeding. So you're gonna have, instead of 3 meals a day, like you've been doing the first 3 weeks, you're going to have 2 meals a day. Getting at least 30 grams of protein at each meal, and you're still gonna be hitting that 2-2-2 rule, which is gonna keep you full and satiated and keep you in a fat-burning state. So that could be 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. are your 2 meals, or 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. are the 2 meals. However you want to do it, but like I said, if you had those 2 meals in the morning, meaning at 8 a.m. and noon, much better than 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. for fat loss, but either schedule will work for you. Number 4 is that you're going to take an anti-inflammatory fat-burning supplement called vitamin G every day. Take it in the morning, take it throughout the day, take it before bed. This has been shown to lower A1C, which is your blood sugar levels, lower blood pressure, lower the hormone cortisol, which is a stress hormone that actually could cause weight gain. It lowers that right away. And vitamin G is actually not something that you could buy on Amazon. I don't have an affiliate link for vitamin G supplementation because vitamin G is the practice of gratitude. I call it vitamin G because it's really powerful, and everything I just shared is on gratitude. So every morning, write down something you're grateful for. Be in a grateful state when you eat your food. Find things to appreciate, because what you appreciate appreciates, and what you think about and think about, you bring about. So start getting your vitamin G every day. Watch what it does for fat loss and for stress. The 5th tip here is to increase your step count from 10,000 steps per day to 12,000 steps per day to get more of that fat loss effect, and continue going for a 20-minute walk after all your meals, or at least the biggest meal of the day. That was a lot of information. I'm going to put those steps in the notes for you down below, but I also have some questions you submitted on this topic that might address some of the questions you might have right now. So let's start with the first question. Ben, do you have this printed out as a guide? Well, I mentioned I'm going to put some of those steps down below for you, but if you want a structured approach, I do have a burn fat ebook that you can get for free that gives you some ideas for fat burning recipes, some simple changes you can make to lose about 10 pounds in 7 days, and you can get that for free by going to burnfatbook.com, or if you're watching on YouTube, scanning the QR code on the screen in front of you. The next question is, can I work out or exercise during this protocol? Yes, because it actually will help, especially if it's strength training, building muscle. Building muscle is a great way to burn fat, makes you more insulin sensitive. So if you want to continue working out or add some exercise into the protocol, the answer is absolutely. It would only enhance your results here. Next question is, are there any specific exercises that work better for stubborn fat and visceral fat? Yes, I mentioned strength training, squats, push-ups, bench press, burpees, lunges, fantastic. Sprinting is also great. 20-second all-out sprint, 2-minute rest, 20-second all-out sprint, 2-minute rest. Repeat that 4 times, 3 or 4 times a week. Amazing for fat loss. The next question is, how important is sleep for fat loss? It's very important. You want to make sure you're getting quality sleep. By making those adjustments as we went through this protocol to bring your dinner down, that will help with sleep. But during delta deep sleep, you burn a lot of fat. So prioritize your sleep, especially if you're doing this protocol, and you might be getting results, because I think all of you will get results, but if it's not happening as fast as you'd like, think about your sleep and improve your sleep quality. The next question is this: after I complete this protocol, what should I do? What's next for me? I want to give you something for free. I want to give you a free course on the metabolism to learn more about fat loss and metabolic health. It includes keto, fasting, some other incredible content with exclusive interviews with Dr. Jason Fung, Megan Ramos, Cynthia Thurlow, Dr. Daniel Pompa. I want to get that to you for free. All you need to do is order my brand new book called Metabolic Freedom. And you could get this over at metabolicfreedombook.com. You're going to see a link to get the book. It's not that expensive. And you're going to submit your name, email, and order number on that website, metabolicfreedombook.com. And I'm going to automatically, right away, send you access to this free course on the metabolism. This is what you're gonna do next, or heck, you can even get started with that right now. So go to metabolicfreedombook.com and I'll drop that link in the notes down below. Hope this is valuable. I can't wait to hear about your results. If you're watching on YouTube, come back and comment and let me know how it's going for you, and share this with somebody you know. Let's make a big difference in their life today. And if you love this lesson, go check out our recent video I just published. It's actually the fastest growing YouTube video I've ever published out of thousands of videos. It's resonating with a lot of people, where I share in 12 minutes, 17 years worth of experience and research on losing weight. I share 4 golden nuggets to fat loss. Check out this clip, and I'll see you in that video. So the first thing is this. So this is a valuable lesson I learned that's gonna save you so much time, because I made so many mistakes here. Calories are not that important. There are other things when it comes to fat loss that are more important, and that's hormones and inflammation. For so many years, I kept just cutting my calories, exercising more. Tricky thing about that is that it works